Hush, hush now. Stop your clicking. Gather round, hatchlings. You've all been bugging me for the story of how the great shell cracked. Quiet! Legend has it that the walking ones can hear you across the void, that if you chitter too loudly, they will hunt you down with bodies made from your own dead kin. Good. I know many of you have never seen home, yet many of you have heard its splendor. You ask, where is it now? I tell you this, it's a tomb, forever sealed, a heap of ash drifting in the dark. The thing that killed our empire is called man. We, the Korok, were a proud people. Our biology was the apex. Our shells were the hardest. In the span of a single molting cycle, 100 years, we conquered 200 systems from the decadent coalition. We thought we were nature's ultimate lash. It is all gone now. We first met them in the Battle of the Kalem Va. Our sailors, drunk on victory against the old coalition, chased into that system. We expected the flabby, desperate gathering of soft shells we usually fought. But there, waiting in the silence, was a monolith of gray metal, the ship of man. It was the first time in decades we felt fear. I was on one of the warships who had fled. Back then I had just been a cadet. They fought unlike any we have seen before. We'd expected a slugfest of broadsides between the metallic monolith and our own cruisers. We were mistaken. The monolith had spewed its own offsprings at us, void-born wings of chrome and titanium. There was a warp of space-time around each and every one of them. Our lasers simply slid off them like water of a stone. The void wings each carried missiles, but those were not the true weapon. Don't interrupt me. It wasn't the missiles that punched through our hull. I said it's not the missiles. The true payload was man. We saw them enter through the smog of the breach, 4 crude, walking iron husks, carrying guns that fired indiscriminately. They did not care that the crew begged. They did not care for surrender. In between the drones walked the man, clad in pristine white armor. He stood upright, unnatural. There was a fiery blue glow in his eyes. No, not eyes, optics. It caused every plate in my exoskeleton to rattle. Every cell in my body screamed, "Run!" Don't you look at me like that, you whelp. You've never met a man. There's no shame in running from them. Only make sure that you run fast enough. They are known to chase. I'd found an outer cannon, blown off from the ship's hull and fallen through the roof of the floor, but it still worked. I fired at him, desperate shots. They all hit. But it didn't slow him down. He ran forward with half his body missing. His arm was gone, cauterized by the heat, yet he did not scream. He did not chitter in pain. He simply switched his weapon to his remaining hand and kept walking. It was only a stroke of luck that he found others before he ever got to shoot me, that I survived. The ship I was on was one of the lucky few which engaged drives before it fell to the shelling of that monolith. Our cruisers were not so lucky. They were swarmed by hundreds, nay, thousands of the Void Wings. Our last communique was simply the terrified chitters of the poor captain, followed by a crunch of his shell. The survivors told stories that chilled our blood. We, Korak, are the pinnacle of biology, but these men, they have discarded biology. They have muscles of some sort of polymer and bones carved of the same metal as ships. I saw one. It was just a severed head in the debris, and it still stared at us. How could I forget those eyes? It was the same eyes which chased me down the hall, those same fiery blue eyes. It was dead, but its eyes were still moving, still tracking, still hating. Still hating. The remaining fleet retreated, and we regrouped to a fortress system. It was a choke point, only one lane in and one lane out, perfect for bunkering down. We'd thought we only had to defend against the one monolith until the main fleet arrived, and then it would return to the usual chain of victories. How were we mistaken? The Black Fleet appeared in the system directly behind the choke. Sailing alongside that monolith were the 2 cruisers and a handful of escort ships. But they were wrong, stripped of their beauty, painted in the black of the void. They moved like living things, too sharp, too fluid, too reactive. All this whilst they bombarded our supply convoys with impunity. The choice had become clear to the captains. Either confront them or starve in the fortress. We had high hopes because despite running low on supply, a reinforcing fleet was coming in. We could sandwich the Black Fleet and put it down for good. We entered the system, waiting for a duel to avenge our dead brothers, but the Black Fleet had simply vanished. 2 days later, deep in our systems, we heard the sorrowful distress signal of a colony as they were shelled to dust by the Black Fleet. We spent another year hunting the shadows, but every battle they won simply added to their numbers, and every battle which seemed like it might turn to be a victory for us, they simply vanished again and again. We finally boarded one of the black ships. The engine had been shot in one of the victories. It was a suicide mission. The boarding team reported that the ship was void of atmosphere, void of warmth. It was filled only with a robotic droning that permeated the halls. And then a synthesized, mechanical cackle broadcast over the intercoms. It translated to laughter. The ship detonated, taking our best warriors and its vanishing secrets with it. The end came at the Broodmother, the homeworld. The Black Fleet appeared in the heart of our empire. The High Chiefs hailed them, begging for their lives of the 31 billion souls on the surface. They received only one cold remark in reply: blood begets blood. The broodmother was shelled into a waste, along with the 31 billion souls, all washed away in nuclear fire. Legend says the Black Fleet will not stop until the last of our kind is extinguished. To them, we are not enemies. We are errors to be corrected. So when you ask me, hatchling, what makes a man, I have only one word to say: inevitability.